Adam Carolla's on the road. San Diego, April 11th and 12th at the American Comedy Club. Port Charlotte, Florida, May 2nd and 3rd at Vasani's Italian Steakhouse and Comedy Theater. And Melbourne, Florida on May 4th at the Melbourne Auditorium. Get tickets for these shows and a whole lot more at adamcarolla.com.
Mark Joseph is here. The book, Making Reagan, is out as we speak with Megyn Kelly doing the forward as well. Rotten Tomatoes, you're going to tell us?
Well, I was just going to tell you guys that we've applied to Guinness World Book of Records for the official status as the greatest gap in the history of every movie ever made between critics and people who watch the movie at Rotten Tomatoes. It's 98% filmgoers, 18% critics. 80 points. The previous record was 65. Not that I keep track of these things.
No, I've been, listen, Dawson's been around long enough. You can remember 10 years ago me saying Rotten Tomatoes is broken. Yeah. It's broken. And you also remember all the assholes around me explaining that I was paranoid.
Yes.
And if I wanted a higher score, I needed to make a better movie. And I was like, it's no longer about the product. It's about how they feel about the subject or the filmmaker. And I told everyone that, and they told me I was... Well, they tell me what they tell me about everything. You don't know what you're talking about. And then I have to wait, and then they never apologize for being wrong. But it was 10 years ago. I was saying, listen, it's there. It depends who's making the film and or what the subject of the film is, and that weighs heavily into the review. Now, to be fair, in a weird way, at the beginning of Rotten Tomatoes being corrupted, which, by the way, who are you talking to? I've made 7 films. None of them have gotten to Sundance. I made films about the first black race car driver ever with Robert Redford, who's Sundance, from Butch and Sundance. I made a movie about Paul Newman, of Butch and Sundance, of Sundance Film Festival. There are 98% on Rotten Tomatoes all the way across the board, all rejected. I submitted my movie, The Hammer, and the guy said, we don't like Adam Carolla, so fuck off. So I'm not making this stuff up. It's what happens. And you guys live in some world where I'm supposed to make a movie that's better. The average score on a Sundance movie at Rotten Tomatoes is 51.5 or something. My average score is 87 or something. So what do you mean make a better product? This fix has been in for a long time. But here's what's happened now. Rotten Tomatoes, all of their film critics were, I would say what I say about Fauci, compromised. They went to college, they went liberal arts, they became film critics. They're a self-selecting group of liberal people who cannot help but mix their politics with their profession, just like they can't do it when they work at Starbucks and they fucking yell at you to put your mask on or something like that. Like they can't stop themselves. So they did it. Now, the audience remained in the dark and sort of unmobilized for the first 5 years this thing went on, maybe 8 years, because Dawson, I've been complaining about this for 10 years now, and the audience just sort of went, I don't know what's going on. So the audience score didn't change.
Right.
The critic score dropped. Now the audience has caught on and went, fuck Snow White. So now it's the Hatfields and the McCoys. Yeah. You have the lowest, and look, I'm not saying Reagan's not a 98, but some of that is a pushback against what they're doing. So maybe if everything was as it was 20 years ago, maybe the audience would have been 86 or something. But there's a percentage of the audience that is actually fighting against those people.
Well,
now,
listen, a little breaking news. I just out of my own curiosity, I began to call around. Because I don't mind a 47, but 18 is a little low. You know, you and I were 47 for No Safe Spaces. 47 is a good number. 18 is a little low. I found out, I called 2 organizations who review movies. They're very religious organizations, but they're very legitimate, millions of viewers. They are not counted because of their organization's position on LGBT issues.
Oh, right. So there you go. So they're out.
So you got Hank in his mom's basement in Cleveland is counted, and this group with millions of followers doesn't count. So.
Yeah, the other thing that'll fuck you up too, and I know you want to weigh in, Dustin, but listen, hold 1 second. the other thing they're going to have to fix is is it IMDb? Where's the other critic? What's the other?
There's ratings on IMDb.
Is it IMDb?
Yeah.
So I'll have something on IMDb, and it'll be 30% 10 stars and 22% 9 stars, but then it'll be 46% 0 because that's the haters, right? And the thing that's crazy, if you look at IMDb, I think it's IMDb, and you look at something I've done, and maybe I don't know, maybe it's Uppity or something, or maybe it's The Hammer or something like that. You can see the way it goes, like mostly 9s and 10s, and it all gets down. By the time you get down to 2s and 3s, it's like barely anybody. And then you get to 0, and now it jumps up past 10. So then they go, what's your score? 7.1. But it's not a 7.1. It's all the zeros offset the other thing. So somebody's going to have to figure this out.
That reminds me of, Cinema Score. You get the A plus, A minus Cinema Score.
Yeah, look at this graph.
What the hell?
Yeah, there you go.
Look at this graph.
Just a troll.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
You know
so
what's going on there.
I can't quite read it from here, but Dawson can. This is for Uppity.
Yeah. 20% they gave you a 1. And then 28% gave you a 10. So it's like either they
But here's my whole point. When you get down, okay.
Those are protest votes.
Exactly,
I get it, but here's what I'm saying. It's 23.5%, give it 10 out of 10.
Right.
And then it's 15%, give it a 9, and 18 or 19%, give it a 8. By the time you get down to 4%, to a 4, 0.7%, a 3, 0.4%, a 2, you give Uppity 2 stars or 2 out of 10, 0.1%, but then you get to 1 and you're 20%.
70% of people gave it at least a 7.
Right. So then you check the overall rating and it's a 7.1, except for that's because we're 20% 0. So somebody's got to figure out a way to flush this out.
Yeah.
Back to Rotten Tomatoes, there's another interesting wrinkle here on movies that they know they're going to have to do positive reviews on, like Uppity, the Willie T. Ribbs story. They'll just refuse to review it.
Yes,
so you will not get enough reviews. Now, 3 people have reviewed. 3 people have reviewed Uppity. They all said thumbs up. 97% of the audience loves it.
Right.
No Rotten Tomatoes score.
Right. The movie was on Netflix. The movie has made at least 15, top 10 sports, whatever,
like
African American lists. It's made every list. And it's been on Netflix, but it will not be reviewed because Dawson's right.
They have to say Adam Carolla did something good.
Right. And so they don't. So there's a way where they just don't say anything.
By the way, it's not just Carolla. In no safe spaces, you were okay. The problem was the other person.
Oh, Prager. Yeah, no.
So
anyone who's conservative.
I get an email from one of the distributors, and they said, he's my friend, so he was honest. The typical response in Hollywood is, it wasn't right for us. But he goes, we loved the movie. The problem was Dennis Prager. None of us in this company want to be associated with him. So sorry.
It's so weird. It's the weirdest, and it's the most congenial, friendly, jovial. First off, Dennis Prager's a lot nicer than I am. I think you know that. He's just a friendly guy. He's just a good dude. He just is conservative, and that's all. He's a good citizen. All right.
I mean,
hopefully this is coming to an end. I don't know. Well, they ruined their own brand because I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes anymore.
But in fairness, Adam, I get a little bit that the audience is very, very smart, and they know. And the converse is actually true. I get a little bit nervous. The New York Times reviewed Reagan, and they were kind of nice. Mm-hmm. That made me nervous because the fans are going to go, wait a minute. The New York Times likes this movie. There's something wrong with it. So
yeah,
they know.
I would listen. I would rather have a 0 than a 32 on Rotten Tomatoes. I just feel like if it's that low, you can just blame the haters. The worst as a filmmaker, the worst score that I could the scenario that would bother me the most would be like 21% from the critics and 19% from the people. That's the
Then
one
you
that
know.
would fuck me up.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would fuck me up the most.
Then you know.
All right, you got some news there?
Got some news, exciting action on a women's basketball court. Yeah, a long-time basketball coach Jim Zullo has broken his silence after a viral video showing him pulling a player's ponytail after a tough loss in the state
Are these
finals.
guys in high school?
Yeah, it's high school. Yeah.
All right, so he comes up. He's pissed at one of the chicks.
Yeah.
Pulls her ponytail. It's funny. When you talk to women about this, they go, "This guy pulled her ponytail," and I go, "What'd she do?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Who cares what she did?" And I go, "Oh no, no." And then they go, there's never any excuse for physical violence. I said, when my daughter was 3, she spit in the nanny's face and the nanny slapped her. And I said, good. There'll be no more spitting in your face. And there never was. And then I thought, I grew up in a world where, coaches pushed you over or smack. Get down in a 3-point stance. Get down. The guy looks in, he kicks your arm out, and you fall on your face. You're screwing up your stance, Carolla. You know what I mean? Like, I live in that world. Yeah. I'm fine with it. I get it. I get that the person, they tugged on the ponytail. By the way, has anyone seen black chicks at the airport? There's some ponytail tugging going on in 2024 when something gets canceled and they go for
How
the
did we
computer.
survive anyway? How did we Gen Xers survive? All the stuff we saw and went through.
I don't.
Ponytail is the least of our problems.
Yeah, this would have been a zero burger. I don't appreciate it, and I don't wish it was my daughter. But if somebody said, "Well, he tugged on your daughter's ponytail hard," I'd go, "Why?" And if they said, "Because she spit in his face," or called him an asshole, or said she wasn't going to play hard, or whatever it is, I'd go, "Oh, okay."
Well, she got fouled out and then got into it with the coach and cussed him out. He's 81 and is now out of a job.
She cussed the coach
Yeah,
out?
I guess he said that she jawed at him, but now he's doing the complete public apology, completely unacceptable.
Yeah, you can't
he
pull
says.
on whatever. But listen, I don't know. See, it's a weird thing. It's like the Spanish soccer coach or president who's, they try to give 3 years in jail for hugging and kissing and celebrating on the podium after the win. I'm like, is he a bad guy? Well, she felt bad. I know, but what did he do? What did he do? She feels like she was okay. That's not where I want to live. I want to know what happened before this.
I put a scene in Reagan of the 12-year-old Reagan. He's being bullied by some kid. The kid chases him home. He tries to get into his house. His mother knows what's going on. She closes the door and says, "You go out and fight that bully."
Yeah.
What mother has done that since 1950 in this country?
Nobody.
Not one. Our mothers would have said, "Come in for milk and cookies. We'll call the school board. We'll get that kid out."
Well, you don't know my mama.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who won the fight, but the point is, an 11-year-old kid was taught, you go and confront your enemies. You don't run away from them. And our country is where it is because we don't have a lot of moms like that anymore.
This guy had a statement, I'm guessing, that says he deeply regrets his behavior. Yeah, I listen, he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But who gives a shit is what I'm saying. I don't care. And that appalls women when I say that. I go, I don't care. She's fine. And by the way, I want to know what she did. She could have fucked up badly. She could have cost him the game.
She did lose the game because she was the highest. She's the highest scorer on the team, and then she got fouled out of the game. Then when he confronted her about it, there was a back and forth, and he yanked her hair.
Okay. Is she okay? Is she in the hospital? Is she able to play again? Can she attend college? Can she ever go to Fantastic Sam's without breaking down into tears? Is she okay? And the answer is, yeah, she's fine. Okay. Then what are we talking about? I'm so fucking tired of everybody. First off, people get aborted every day. No one gives a shit. People get shot every day. No one gives a shit. In the inner city, there's 14-year-olds shooting each other every day. There's people dying in car crashes. Look. The average kid gets more fucked up on a bird scooter than this guy. I don't know what happened to this girl. Nothing is the answer. So the guy's an idiot. So she learned. Okay, moving on. Who cares?
Yeah. Moving on to the second woman is strangled to death during an overnight visit at a California prison. Mule Creek Prison. A tragic and disturbing story where this woman was strangled to death during an overnight family visit at a state prison.
So it's a conjugal visit that's overnight.
Yeah, the guy who did it allegedly is somebody serving a quadruple life sentence.
We got to put that guy behind bars.
Yeah.
Do
He's
other
already
countries
there.
have conjugal visits? Is this just an American thing?
No, they do, yeah.
Do they?
I will say this. I will say this about the conjugal visit. Okay, couple things. I don't like it. Tex Watson of the Manson family had 4 kids from inside of prison.
Yeah.
He sired kids from in the joint after what he did. Okay, but I did hear from a prison guard once, and I just want you to know that I'm open to things. You know what I mean? And I will listen. I complain about Nithya Raman or AOC or whoever, Kamala Harris, but if they ever sat down and explained something and it made sense, I'd go, okay, yeah. Right now, you're telling me Toyota is at fault for their catalytic converters being stolen, and it doesn't make sense to me. But if you somebody walked me through the process and why it was, other than you're angry, well, then maybe I'd go along with you. And I had a prison guard say once, he goes, look, it sounds nuts, but it keeps the guys in check. Because if they know they got a conjugal visit coming up, they're on the fucking straight and narrow. And if they get out of hand, it's gone. So you tell them, you got a date with some pussy in 3 weeks, but you fucking start a riot in the cafeteria, no pussy for you.
Yeah.
That keeps guys sitting down
All right.
in their seat. And I go, okay, all right, it's a way to keep everyone kind of motivated and in line. I'll buy it. That makes sense.
If it works.
If it works. Well, he killed.
Yeah. 62-year-old Stephanie Diane Dowles was visiting her husband, David Brinson, a man serving 4 life sentences for a 1990s quadruple murder, which was found dead inside Mule Creek State Prison. Shocking part, this is the second woman in less than a year to be killed under similar circumstances during a family visit at the same facility.
If I was a prisoner there, I would give the biggest dude maintain conversation ever. Like, you fuckers keep killing your wives and I don't get any pussy. You understand? They're going to shut this whole thing down because you guys can't stop from choking out your wives.
Yeah.
They were coming to visit you for a conjugal visit. Like, if there's ever a time where you should just say thank you and shut up, it'd be her making the 3-hour drive to the prison to have sex with your raggedy ass. Yeah. Come on now. It's not like she just crashed your Cadillac, or fouled out of a game. It's not like she did something egregious like fouling out of a junior high basketball game. She came over to fuck you. And for this, you kill her. Well, that's a fine how do you do?
I think we need to visit other prisons in other countries. I'm thinking about Japan, for instance. They don't mess around in Japan. You get arrested for pot. Remember Paul McCartney spent 10 days in a Japanese jail because he had some pot with him? There's no conjugal visits in Japan that I know.
I like any place where you get caned.
That's Singapore, right?
For like spitting
for
gum
chewing
out
gum,
on the
right,
sidewalk or stealing a poster in your hotel room or
Prison's
something.
supposed to be a little uncomfortable, right?
Well,
just saying.
also real clean sidewalks over there where they do the caning, right?
Not much pot in Japan.
Right. It kind of works, and you can go, I don't like it, but you go, hey, listen, I walk around here, it looks like it's a shit show. So I don't know. Can't argue with the results. All right, so now this guy's got a 5th life, whatever.
Yeah, it may be coming up on a 5th life sentence. He hasn't been arraigned yet. But
He's there. I mean, somebody has to show up at that guy's cell, right? At like 8 a.m. and go like, all right, let's go now, get your things. And then he's got to be sitting there going, she's dead. And he's got the guard who shows up is going to go, really?
Well, actually, in the original story, it was explained that he said, hey, my wife passed out. And was kind of making not real about it. Was saying that then they investigated it and he
didn't want to get into trouble.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In other news, Luigi Mangione wants a laptop in jail while he awaits his trial in the killing of the UnitedHealthcare CEO.
He needs a laptop. Can I say this? It is pretty much straight across the board the Venn diagram of the people that hate Elon Musk and love the guy who murdered a guy in the streets of Manhattan, they're the exact same people. They're all the same people. The people that hope that Elon Musk dies in his sleep for what he's doing and worship at the altar of the killer, they're the same people. Does that say something about those people? Can we learn that maybe
I think it's fascinating.
something is off in the moral department for those
But
people?
I've seen crossover of people who are more conservative who kind of allowed this guy only because they've dealt with the healthcare system and been denied for simple things and or
listen. No one is happy. The guy's dead. No one. Conservatives aren't happy he was assassinated. They're not sending him their panties to the prison.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. They're not cheering when the guy's name comes up on a late night show or something. It's the same people who think Elon's a criminal and think this guy is a folk hero.
But the Elon thing is switched so quickly because for so many years he was the hero to one political side. Then all of a sudden it's give back your Teslas. We're going to boycott. It happens so fast.
Yeah.
You can't.
3 days.
People aren't allowed to grow or change their opinions on anything. They turn on you. That's what I think is so interesting there. I've never hated him or loved. I mean, I respect him all along.
Well, the hardest they go is the ones they used to like or the ones who should be there, like black females. When black females go Republican, they go nuts on them. Or gay. Whenever one of their special groups goes to the other side, that's who gets it the hardest.
Right. Even the Joe Rogan types. I mean, you've experienced that to some extent over your career, haven't you?
Yeah, but I was always a douche. I was never looked up to by any group. I was always considered, just a doofus from the Man Show. So I didn't really, the worst is the sort of fall from grace. You know what I mean? I was always blue collar construction boxing coach who just said shit that was super unpopular into the radio all the time. And so they were always arguing with me. I never really,
transitioned smooth into keeping the argument.
Well, I didn't transition at all. I just did that. I've been saying the same. I've said the exact same thing for 30 years into a microphone. I haven't altered any opinions.
Right.
They all just went batshit crazy.
Right.
And that's what they did. So it's hard for them to do the what happened to me thing because for me, there's recorded history. There's 30 years of nightly saying every single thing on both sides. It's like, I was talking to Dr. Drew about this. Oh, Bill Maher's talking about too much regulation in the building codes. Jesus Christ, who's been talking about regulation and building codes for 30 fucking years into a microphone?
Right.
So now I live in a world where me and Bill Maher are completely simpatico on over-regulation and burdensome regulation from the government as it pertains to building codes. Yeah. I walked right off a construction site into a radio studio and started screaming about building codes in Los Angeles, and everyone just looked at me like, I don't fucking know, what the fuck's this guy talking about? That was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think we grew up in a generation where, if you remember when Prop 13 passed?
Yes.
1978. I was in the 4th grade. My liberal teachers said all hell is going to break loose if this passes. You will not come to school next year, whatever. I come back to school in the fall. The only difference I noticed were no free pencils and no free paper anymore. I had to bring my own pencils and paper. Now, on the other side, the right went crazy over the left. Remember we had smog? We couldn't go out to recess because it was so smoggy.
Smog alerts.
Right. The right said, if you do this, if you regulate this, all hell's going to break loose. It didn't break loose. The air was clean. So we've seen both sides yell and scream their ideological stuff, but the truth is somewhere in the middle. In both cases, our lives were better because Prop 13 passed and we cleaned up whatever the smog was at the time.
Yeah, there's commercials. I miss all the political commercials where the good-looking wife is sitting there reading the paper at the breakfast table, and the guy walks in and wants to talk about breakfast, and she's like, have you read the details of Prop 27? I'm like, who is this woman? I've never met this woman in my life. She's reading all the small print from the prop. And I used to, there was a commercial once where the commercial was for a prop that was going to add 20 cents to a pack of cigarettes. and it was a white guy. I like any movie or any commercial where a white guy's a gangbanger. Yeah. I'm already in. It's a good-looking white guy, but they tell him, don't shave for like 2 days. It'll make you look like a gangbanger, right. And he's clearly just a good-looking actor guy who hasn't shaved for 2 days. And he's talking, and he goes, prop, whatever passes, it's going to add 20 cents to the pack of cigarettes. But me and my gang members will go to Nevada, and we'll buy the cigarettes where there's no tax, and we'll bring them back here, and we'll just sell them on the street. Like someone's walking to a 7-Eleven, and the guy go, hey, what are you buying? Cigarettes? Come to my primered van in this alley. Like, I think I can save you 25 cents, And then at the end, he goes, and with that money, we can buy a lot of these. And he pulls his shirt up, and there's a gun stuffed in his waistband. And I thought, this is where we're going? If you tack on 20 cents to a pack of cigarettes, this is what's going to happen. And then it passes, and it never happened. Has anyone ever been to a 7-Eleven in Southern California and had some gangbanger say, oh, what are you buying? Cigarettes? Yeah, come over this way. I can give you a break. I've just got back from Laughlin. I can sell you some of this. Yeah. No, but it's always great. The promise, the doom and the gloom. And now we got the end of our democracy, right? Because you elect Trump, and then our democracy ends.
Well, we may need Doge California.
Oh, my God.
Imagine what they would uncover if Doge comes to California.
All right, let's do one more.
Yeah, one last story. UFC champ Cain Velasquez is off to prison for 5 years for shooting at a man accused of molesting his son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's but shocking and heartbreaking. UFC champ Cain Velasquez has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for a 2022 shooting incident that made national headlines. He got into a high-speed chase, opening a fire on a vehicle carrying Harry Goularte, a man accused of molesting Cain Velasquez's 4-year-old son hundreds of times.
Oh, it's his son? Yes. Hundreds of times.
That's what's going on. And he is still out on bail and attempting to fight his case. Cain pleaded no contest to attempted murder and multiple gun charges. Prosecutors called it a vigilante shooting spree.
He just fired into the back of the guy's truck, right?
Yeah, and he actually hit the guy's dad.
Yeah.
So, he wounded him, man.
Yeah. But the dad of the serial pedophile doesn't fall too far from the tree. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, look, I don't know what you did with this boy, but
I know.
You didn't sit around and watch Davy and Goliath with this kid, and then it was off the...
I know.
Something he did.
Something going on.
Somebody's egg got scrambled when they were a kid. Like...
What is that? There's something in there.
When you think it's a good idea to do this, usually somebody did it to you, is what.
Yeah. And the guy has that pedo face a bit. You know what I mean? It's.
I have resting pedo face, but that's just as God created me. It has nothing to do with ideology or what's going on with my face. Mark's got a little resting pedo face too, but it's not his fault.
Well, I think that dads are the key to when the dad isn't around. I'm telling you.
Oh man,
we dads have antennas, and sometimes moms miss the cues, and we dads can spot crazy people. We keep them far away from our kids.
Yeah, got to have the dad in the picture. And listen.
But there's a lot of people who talk about cheering a vigilante. So many Twitter is just overwhelming with Cain Velasquez, free Cain. Everybody is very like, what? Give him a medal. And I get it. Like, if somebody does, even allegedly done that to your son.
No, listen, this is one of those things where you go, look, this guy's dad, he's being a dad, and his kid was molested, and allegedly, I guess, and whatever. I get all that. I get the part where you're not allowed to drive down city streets and fire a gun out the window of your car at a guy in front of you who may or may not have molested your son and then hit his dad and or hit a kid who's walking down the sidewalk. Like, bullets go, they pass things, they hit other things, you know.
Yeah.
So... yeah, sorry, it's not the Wild West. Like, you're not allowed to chase a guy down the street and unload a clip into the back of his car. So... it's nuanced, and my thing is like the pedo guy deserves 1,000 years in prison, and Cain deserves 2 years in prison for this, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Do you ever do you know Cain?
Yeah, I wrestled with him a bit up in San Jose. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's It's an unfortunate situation. I have empathy for him, but he'll do that 2 years standing on his head. He's fine. He's tough.
He got 5 years. How long's he doing?
He'll do like 2.5, maybe. I don't know. It depends. He already has credit for 9 months. And so depending on how they chip away at that, he could get 33% because he's first time conviction.
I don't know if they let you do this, but I'd like to get some credit for prison. You know what I mean? In case something goes wrong later. You know what I mean?
Do weekends in jail and get your double time?
No, don't be stupid. I was thinking, though, between the ages of like 18 and 22, I wasn't really up to much.
Just kick it.
Let's just every other month go to prison. By the time I turned 23, I got 2 years under my
What
belt.
do you do if you don't use it up? You just give it to your kid?
Yeah. You will it. I could will it to it. It has to be blood. Let's not be stupid. I can't just sell it on eBay. You know what I mean, to a criminal. But then my kid gets his third DUI, and this time somebody got hurt. You know what I mean? And so
You got pretty good kids. They're not going to use that up, I don't think.
It doesn't have to be a DUI. It could be, any form of manslaughter, roommates getting on their nerves or whatever. People drink, stuff happens, is what I'm saying. I would then give them those 2 years, I would bequeath them. I like when people do this. I like when people go total false equivalence. They go, I got a Paul Newman race car. Yeah. When I die, who's that go to? Your kid? Okay. And then they do that one, and you go, no, I'm still not there yet. But yeah, I between the ages of 18 and 22, I could have done month in, month out, and got 2 years under my belt. And I could have learned welding or a second language or something. It would have been a lateral move from sleeping on a futon with a dude in North Hollywood in a place with no air conditioning,
We have the scene in the film in No Safe Spaces. You were turned down for the fire department during that time.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Right? And then 7 years later.
Years later, I got the notice to try out for the fire department.
Because you were the wrong gender, the wrong color, the wrong everything.
Yeah, the guy who took my application just kind of went,
Don't even bother.
don't even expect. Like, if you think you're heading home and going to get a letter from the LA Fire Department in the next, work week or something, it's like, he's just like, don't even. You better go get another job. Is what he
There's Adam
basically told
Carolla's
me.
white privilege right there.
Kicking in. Always kicking in. All right, Mayhem. You've said it all. Mark Joseph, everyone. Making Reagan's the name of the memoir. Out as we speak with a foreword by who else? Megyn Kelly. Listen to the Megyn Kelly show as well. And you can go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla. For Mark Joseph and Megyn Kelly and Mayhem saying, mahalo.